Hi everyone, my name's Miss Brown and I'm going to be delivering the assembly today on managing stress. During the assembly today, I'm going to be talking about what stress is, how to recognise stress, why we feel stressed, why a certain amount of stress is healthy, and things that we can do to help ourselves when we do feel stressed. So what is stress? I just want you to think about 5 things, so maybe 4 or 5 things that you feel cause you stress sometimes. Now, stress can also be anxiety. So if you feel anxious thoughts, then that sometimes does intertwine with stress. So for example, if I was going to think of some things that make me feel stressed, it can be things at work, like having tight deadlines, quite a large workload. It can be not being prepared, not having the time to be prepared. Sometimes I can feel stressed as an adult about money. For example, my car didn't pass its MOT, and then I have a huge bill to pay for, and then I think about how am I going to get to work. At times I felt stressed as well when I've been at university, thinking about exams, deadlines, not getting the grades that I necessarily wanted for some assignments. When a family member is ill, that can cause stress, or when I've been feeling unwell. There's lots and lots of things that can make you feel stressed. And sometimes they can be really, really small things. So what someone else would deem as very small can actually feel very big to you. So we can't kind of judge that. Generally, as you mature, these things can change. Statistically, most young people begin to feel stressed when thinking about exams or the future, because it is the unknown, isn't it? We all know what it's like to feel stressed, but it's not easy to pin down exactly what stress means. When we say things like, this is stressful or I'm stressed, we might be talking about situations or events that put pressure on us. For example, times where we have lots to do and think about or don't have much control over what happens. And our reaction to being placed under pressure, the feelings we get when we have demands placed on us that we find difficult to cope with. So is stress a mental health problem? So stress, definitely, a large amount of stress can have an effect on our mental health. Being under pressure is a normal part of life, and it can be a useful drive that helps you to take action, feel more energised and get results. In fact, a certain amount of stress is good for you. It motivates you to achieve your goals. Overcoming stressful situations can build your future resilience, and there's even some evidence to suggest that it boosts your brain power. I definitely think that me personally, I have benefited from having stress because it's definitely made me more resilient and more driven. If you have a look here, we have what we call the stress curve, and it talks about understimulation, which links to boredom, fatigue, frustration, dissatisfaction. Then we have optimum stimulation, so we have creativity, rational problem solving, change, satisfaction, progress. And then overstimulation can cause low self-esteem, exhaustion and illness. And it's just about finding that right amount of stress and being able to deal with it within that stress curve. So actually, if someone never has any stress, it isn't the healthiest thing. We are driven by stress, and there is a healthy amount of stress that does help us to achieve. So the trick to managing stress is to keep yourself in the yellow section in the middle of the stress curve. This is where we feel satisfied. This is where we're at our most creative, where we are better problem solvers, and in a school setting, probably where we would do our best work. If we get too stressed and moved into the blue zone, our performance tends to drop off. This is where we might start to get overwhelmed by stress and where those feelings could start to be a problem for you. So what causes stress? There might be one big thing causing you stress, but stress can also be caused by a build-up of small changes. This might make it harder for you to identify what's making you feel stressed or to explain it to other people. Feelings of stress are normally triggered by things happening in your life, which involve being under lots of pressure, facing big changes, worrying about something, not having much or any control over the outcome of a situation, having responsibilities that you're finding overwhelming, or not having enough work, activities, or change in your life. So the amount of stress we feel in different situations can depend on our perception of the situation. This might be connected to our past experiences, our self-esteem, and how our thought processes work. For example, if we tend to interpret things positively or negatively. How skilled we are at dealing with pressure and our emotional resilience to stressful situations. We're all different, so a situation that doesn't bother you all might cause someone else a lot of stress. For example, if you're feeling confident or usually enjoy public speaking, you might find that giving a speech in front of people feels comfortable and fun. But then if you're feeling low or usually prefer not to be the centre of attention, this situation might cause you to experience signs of stress. I think as well how skilled we are at dealing with pressure and emotional resilience definitely comes with age and maturity sometimes. I know when I was at school, I probably didn't deal with stress the way that I deal with stress now, but that's because I have become a bit more skilled over time and I've learned about my own personality. So what to do if you think you might be stressed? There are lots of things you can do to build your resilience to stress, and you can also prepare yourself to deal better with pressured situations. So these are my top tips. The first one and the most important one is sleep well. We definitely need 7 to 8 hours at least of sleep a night, and make sure you're getting that. If you're not getting that, you are not going to be thinking properly, and you are probably going to feel quite stressed at maybe smaller situations that you wouldn't feel stressed about if you were getting enough sleep. Exercise is so good for getting rid of stress, getting rid of negative thoughts. It releases all the positive hormones and endorphins, and it definitely makes me feel better, and it makes me think so much clearer after. I try and exercise every day, even if it's just a walk. Talk it out. Talking to someone always makes it better. It'll always take the edge off anything you're feeling stressed about. Sometimes saying what you're stressed about or saying what you're worried about or feeling anxious about out loud can make you realise that maybe it is a smaller issue that you can solve quite easily. So talk to someone. Find someone that you trust. It could be a family member, it could be someone at school, it can be a friend, but those people are really important. Having those important people around really do help, even if it's just one person that you do trust that you can regularly talk to. Make time for fun and quiet. So, it can't all just be work. You have to make time for fun. Life's too short not to have some fun. And fun really is what makes the world go round. And fun is never stressful. And also quiet as well. Make sure you take your quiet moments. Make sure you think about things and reflect on things. Think about reading a book. A quiet moment can even just be sitting down to watch some TV. Write about it. Writing about your worries can help some people. I really like writing down things and writing about my worries and my experiences. It's almost like I'm writing them down, from my head. And sometimes I write down things that I wouldn't necessarily want to talk to anyone about. And mindfulness has really helped me. And mindfulness was only something I came to about 5 years ago. If you don't know anything about mindfulness, I think one of the best things to do is just go onto the internet and research it. I think sometimes when a teacher tells you, be mindful, it can sometimes sound a little bit silly. But actually, if you have a look about what mindfulness is, it's really important. And I don't really practice mindfulness, I don't go into lots of reading about it. But the thing that I've taken away is that it's just about not thinking about the past and not thinking too far forward. It's just about thinking about the now and being present. And that rule has really helped kind of change the way that I think and deal with stress. So some useful contacts. If you're ever worried, if you're ever feeling stressed or anxious, there are places to go to seek advice and help and support. And I think sometimes just learning about stress and how your own personality deals with stress is really helpful. Also as well, sometimes it might be that you don't want to talk to anyone that you know, so it might want to be someone anonymous. So we've got these links here. We've got Be Mindful. It's where you can get information on mindfulness and mindfulness-based stress reduction and guidance on how to learn mindfulness. And there's bigwhitewall.com. It's an online community of people who find it hard to cope. It's completely anonymous, so you can express yourself openly. There's mindtools.com, and that has information on topics including stress management and assertiveness. And then we have stressbusting.co.uk, and there's information about stress and techniques for coping, lists several talking treatments and alternative therapies that can be used to treat stress. There's also as well people in school, there's people at home, and like I said before, just make sure you kind of have that person or a few people that you can talk to, because sometimes sharing a problem that you find stressful can actually make it not feel stressful.